Hello students, please subscribe the channel, drop a like, share and comment. This is dictation number 5 and 6 of the model speed dictation volume number 1 on the speed of 100 words per minute. Start. Sir, at the outset, I would like to congratulate our respected Agriculture Minister who has tackled remarkably well the food situation. When he took over, we had a very gloomy situation in the country. The very fact of his taking over the portfolio created a new atmosphere of confidence in the country. He kept up the morale. Then we had good monsoons, and fortunately this year we have an estimated 114 million tons, which is a record. We had a very successful procurement. We had a target of 13 million tons. I think we hope to get more than 15 million tons. Another important fact is that the offtake from the cheap grain shops has been reduced, and therefore the government's responsibility to supply this cheap grain is also less. That will leave some surplus with us. In 1975, we supplemented our buffer stock by importing about 7 million tons. In the background of this, I would like the Honorable Minister to tell us as to why it was necessary for us to go in for purchases of US rice. There was a report recently that we are going to purchase some rice. I do not know all the details. Why was it necessary, especially when we have been cheated before? We have filed a suit for an amount of 21 crore dollars, which is a big amount. In the background of this, why was it necessary to go in for this purchase? The food minister may kindly explain to us. Sir, we have heard much about the Green Revolution. It was good as far as it has gone. The main strategy of the Green Revolution has been increase in the area under high yielding varieties, supply of fertilizers, and changes in the cropping pattern. It is the finding of many economists that the Green Revolution has resulted in creating a rich class at the cost of the poor marginal farmers and landless laborers who are mostly of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The situation became so serious that at one stage the then Home Minister warned the country that unless adequate efforts were made, the Green Revolution would turn into a Red Revolution. The fact is that not enough attention has been given to land reforms throughout this period. Why did it happen? There was an eminent American scholar teaching in the Delhi University for some time. He was an expert on agrarian question. He said that no other country had passed so many land reform legislations as India. But in no other country have such legislations been implemented with such defaults as in India. I would lay the blame squarely on the states. Our states have been tardy, have not been very particular about land reforms, And it was exactly on those occasions when the center took the lead that land reforms were implemented. Sir, the point I am laboring at is that the center must make agriculture a central subject. Mr. Deputy Chairman, Sir, the annual report of the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation claims credit for improvement in the food situation particularly and in the agriculture generally. But I must remind them that only last year the ministry was lamenting over the sad state of affairs of agriculture in the country, which had caused inflation and had caused even a crisis in our industries. Last year, two important reports have been published. First is the report of the National Commission on Agriculture. Second is the report on the census of land holdings. Now, these two reports together given us a long-term perspective of the agricultural situation in the country. According to the report of the National Commission, we can expect to have a comfortable food situation earliest in 1985 and possibly in 2000 AD. They have drawn up an optimistic and what they call a realistic estimate of the production of food grains, and they have come to the conclusion that only by 2000 AD we can hope to meet our entire requirements and have even a small surplus for export. Even this optimism is based on the continuance of certain trends in agricultural production, whose continuance is by no means certain because the census of land holdings clearly brings out that out of 70 million holdings, as many as 35 million are below 1 hectare. As a matter of fact, 84% of the holdings which are below 4 hectares occupy only 40% of the area. On the other hand, less than 4% of the holdings which are more than 10 hectares each occupy about 30% of the area. If this type of neglect in the distribution of land continues and if half the holdings continue to remain marginal, then I am extremely doubtful if even the less optimistic estimate of the National Commission can be fulfilled. As a matter of fact, according to certain estimates made last year, the percentage of population falling below the poverty line now comes to nearly 45. What is the way out? How to lift this 45% of the population from below the poverty line? How to lift the marginal and the sub-marginal holdings from below the poverty line? The ministry will say that they have launched two programs. They are Small Farmer Agency and the Marginal Farmer Agency. Now, what is the result of these programs? Out of 100 million marginal and sub-marginal peasants, the total coverage to date is 2 million by these two programs. The Honorable Minister may inform the House whether it will take another 50 years or 100 years to cover the entire marginal population and lift up that population to above the poverty line if this rate of progress continues. One could hope that with the progress of industrialization in the country, a section of the rural population will be shifted to industry.